and also rabbits, and there were crow and other type of birds that all sat and did not crow, peep, or move until I finished the song.
Language is sort of the water that we swim in. As fish, we don't recognize that we're swimming in that water. And how you seem to point out that we get trapped in our language and we don't even know it. Like you listen, it's almost like you're listening with two ears. It's like you're listening with one ear to like your language of things and how someone else is understanding it through their language. And you're like almost catching, be like, yeah, that way of thinking that you're having, that's actually your language. That's not how I have to think about it, you know?
Right. Right. Are you hearing me well?
Yeah,
okay?
we can hear you again. Yeah, can you hear us again? Yeah.
I can.
So, okay.
Okay,
just to loop it back to the question. Yeah, I just asked around this idea. You've said that language is the first weapon drawn in a war, and my curiosity is how has language dictated the way that, say, the Western scientific response has been to this moment, to this happening? Like, how has language actually boxed in a particular way of responding and sort of shut out other ways of responding that maybe are accessible through other language, for example, like Lakota?
Yes. Well, let me begin with I was in the middle of Auschwitz and Birkenau in 2013 with an elder, Virgil Killstraight from Pine Ridge in South Dakota. He's Oglala Ongpapa Lakota, which are two bands of the seven divisions of the Lakota, right? And so I asked him in the middle of that ceremony, well, it was after actually. So let me describe the ceremony because it has everything to do with the relational value that I'm telling you. This is that when he began to load the chanupa or the pipe with the tobacco, there were people standing around that had come with us and that we participated in these death camps. I start singing the song to load the pipe, and there was a herd of deer that all stood and lined up in attention within the compound, and also rabbits, and there were crow and other type of birds that all sat and did not crow, peep, or move until I finished the song. And then after I finished, they all went back to being who they are. And so when that day, after the long day, we returned to the retreat center, and I asked Uncle I said, do we have a word for domination or a concept? And he immediately said, no word, no concept for domination. It doesn't exist. And he also put in the words, we don't really have a word for I or me or my or mine or ours, any possessives. And that led me to thinking. So I'd ask him and nudge him other times about ideas that I had. And he said ideas are dangerous. They could be dangerous, and basically that with domination is the war. That means there's somebody superior, or at least they think they are, and it causes war. And all it is a wanton greed for more and control of what you can with this time sequence of beginning and ending. So when I would think about how the language was to be used, then I begin to find out that we have basically no nouns in our language. And with no nouns, there can't be control concepts. There can't be domination. It has to be only relational value. And if there's no self-centeredness, then it's about all other life that recognizes you as humanity or as human. Because obviously we as human beings haven't been able to really enact humanity. We do, it's only about our species, and that means that we are becoming more lonely because of our earth distancing language, our social distancing language. And so we get away from the natural processes, and then we lose the language, and we accept technology, which is basically about human doings, rather than the other way, where human beings are just that. And so we're relationally natural beings, and so we think out of that the context of consciousness from the earth, the elements, the four elements, earth, wind, fire, and water. And these, which are our makeup, basically is the intelligence that we are going by. It's our creed exactly to know that everything is Wakan, everything is consciously, you consciously, consciously hold mystery. You consciously apply mystery to everything. And so the language is this, which is a conveyance, a transmission, transmitting that life. And so that the culture of the earth, the etymology of the earth in our cultures dictate our languages that are not just ours as human beings, but all the other life forms and dimensional intelligences that they have. And this
Mhm.
is why we cannot have a noun form. Yes.